immense action towards Cuba in the recent days. I want to ask this question in the studio first with Dr. Nasser. Cuba, a nation, heavily communist nation, being helped out by the heaviest communist nation, Russia, China as well. China is providing the food security element, while Russia a couple of weeks ago has provided a ship laden with crude for the nation to survive. Now, Russia and China are seemingly helping Cuba with their daily day-to-day operations. I want to get a notion. In the beginning of the year, we've seen Venezuela, and then we have seen the administration targeting Greenland. Then, of course, Iran came about, and Cuba was left to be ignored. However, today we see Raul Castro's indictment, a 94-year-old politician serving in their nation, being indicted by the U.S. And, of course, Cuba, an island nation facing severe energy crisis. Today, we see that when sun sets in the shores of Havana, that there is no light to be seen anywhere, and the tourism and other markets have definitely been affected. Want your comments on how you see this? Will Cuba be the next turnstone or cornerstone?
That is not unlikely, because historically we observed that when the America was strongly trying to portray that capitalism is not a idealistic or it's a good idea for a country to be administered. Right at that time, Cuba, close to the USA, had been very successful as a nation under the Fidel Castro, the legendary leader of the Cuba. And as you said, the tourism and the Havana cigar and their treatment facilities. You know, world leaders like Yasser Arafat and many of the legendary figures like Diego Maradona, they all had their successful surgery and other treatments in Cuba. So it was a legend in the entire Europe and America that Cuba, being a capitalist country, a communist country, could make a success in their respective field, and they had been giving threat to the even USA's policies at many a times.
Right.
And there had been lot of operations to kill Cuban, the legendary figure Fidel Castro, and
Che Guevara as well.
Yes, and I wrote an article. There had been 38 attempts to kill him in different occasions, but it was not successful. And after that, recently we have seen, once the uranium and the rare earth became the focal point of discussion in the world politics, then Cuba again came under threat of the USA. And you rightly pointed out, there had been energy crisis in Cuba, not only in terms of energy, their water supply, their food supply, everything was challenged because of the US sanctions and embargo on their port and on their other facilities which used to bring foods from outside, energy from outside to keep them rolling. Right at this moment, China has taken a very smart decision, I should say. They now realize that again, right in front of the USA, if Cuba can stand again with its power, with its energy, with its the lost glory which was thrown challenge under the leadership of Fidel Castro, definitely this will be another blow to the USA. That's why this food supply will be definitely a very positive impact, right, not only in Cuba, in the entire region around the Cuba, number one. Number two, this will encourage other Latin American countries and the other countries around Cuba to stand against the USA, because they will now get confidence that what maybe that is, China is there to help us out. This is another issue. Number three is that Cuba is probably diverting the American attention towards other sector also, because again, as I said in my first phase of talking, that their target is in 2027 towards Taiwan. So
yes,
right before that, the attention of America will be diverted in different direction. Cuba is one of the diversionary attention or move intended by the China right at this moment. That's what I believe.
The Chief Minister of the Malaysian state of Selangor, Amiruddin Shari, has said that he will initiate proceedings as soon as lawyers complete the collection of information and supporting evidences. 400 international activists aboard the flotilla to deliver aid to Gaza were captured, and in this entire process they were deported through third countries such as Turkey. But as we see today, Malaysia is planning on taking them to the ICJ, as well as other nations, European nations, condemning the specific minister's actions. Ben Gavir inside Israel. What is Israel? Is that a country, or is it a land that has been taken over after the British conquering land of Palestine? And today we do not see Palestine as much as we used to 80 years ago. Of course, the future of Israel, will there be one, as Benjamin Netanyahu's opposition are now gearing up for the upcoming elections? How do you see it?
It's a two dimension, as you have pointed out. Number one is the upcoming election, and it is also related with the midterm election of the US as well.
One is in October in Israel, and one is in November, as far as I.
Just continuation in 2 months. And this is a focal point for this particular whatever is going on. And as you have rightly pointed out, that Israel really has crossed all the limits in terms of their aggression, because this war is continuing with Gaza and Palestine for quite few decades. But this time, the way they have shown their red eyes to the innocent people and the peace-loving people who are going by the flotilla, and they are not fighters. They don't have any gun with them. They are not going to harm anyone. They are trying to show their sympathy, empathy, or their support for the victims in Gaza. So, if this is stopped in force of in gunpoint, that means the United Nations, so-called the Arab nations, so-called the YC, whatever the international organization we say, crime against humanity or International Court of Justice, nothing has any value in from the Israeli will. So that is a very, very shocking point. And the ray of hope at the end of the tunnel is that 8 Arab nations, you have, as you have slightly pointed out, they have protested the behavior pattern of the Israeli administration, especially a minister particularly. And as you have also mentioned, that Malaysia has taken up the case, and they are thinking of collecting the evidences and going to International Court of Justice. And really, if it takes place, the symbolic event, that will have some impact definitely. And it is, you see, what is happening now, the American or Israeli stake onto the Iran is getting Middle East out of their hand.
Right.
Middle East leaders are now thinking that now they will have to reshape their own defense. So they are already make the pact with the Pakistan, which was not expected. And Pakistan, we know very well, backed by USA and China both. So right. Now both the superpowers now is active in Middle East, and Pakistan, being the mediator, is taking the upper hand in the entire right. Middle East activities. None of the Middle East countries could take this particular lead. So this is how the international politics, geopolitics, or the supremacy of the USA, everything is being questioned now. And you must have observed that during the visit of the US President Donald Trump in China, was the question of Taiwan came up. Very smartly, Chinese president said that if this is the point, we are not going to discuss, or this should not come as a discussion point. Right. And if it comes up, and if the USA get involved with Taiwan issue, it may lose its supremacy or power as the world leader. That is the threat he has directly given. So now the world has to think that things will not go as per the choice of the USA anymore. You see, the US, the points whatever they raise towards the Iran, regime change, the destruction, then vanishing the country from the world map, destruction of a civilization, nothing has happened. So whatever they say, that will not happen. That is the striking point of the time.